Today we're going to do the last lesson in Chapter 3. We are going to be solving all types of equations. And these are the types of equations we've learned how to do so far this year. So what I'd like to do is I'll put the first problem up here, and I would like you to pause, and then I'd like you to try it yourself. And then when you're ready, you guys can start the video again, check your answer, and clear up any mistakes that you might have made. And so if you would do that for each problem, that way you can try them first, and then check your answers. So let's start with number 1. Number 1, we have E equals mc squared. That is a formula in science. We want to solve this for C. Just for your information, E is energy equals m is mass and C is the speed of light. So go ahead and try to solve this for C, and we'll see how you do. Pause the video. Okay, let's try it. If we're going to solve for C, that means we want to get rid of the m, and we want to get this C by itself. So the opposite of multiplying by m is dividing by m. So if you divide both sides by m, the m's cancel, and you have C squared equals E over m. Well, we're trying to get C by itself. So to get rid of something squared, we're going to take the square root of both sides. The square root of this side and the square root of this side, and then don't forget your plus and minus because you're really getting two answers. However, the speed of light cannot be negative. So we're really only going to get a positive answer since this is a real-life formula. C equals the square root of E over m would be my new equation. That equation, solve for C. So hopefully you got that answer. Okay, number 2. I want you to try this one. Suppose you have negative 6 is equal to negative 6 times 3x minus 8. And I want you to solve this for x. Notice that there's only one variable in this problem, so this is just a regular solving an equation. So go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. Okay. Here we go. We have negative 6 is equal to negative 18x. And then negative 6 times negative 8 is positive 48. So I took that negative 6 and I distributed it to everything inside the parentheses. Okay, I'm trying to get x by itself, so I'm going to move 48 over to the other side. And I get negative 18x is equal to, when I add those two together, and they can become even more negative, I get negative 54. When I divide both sides by negative 18, I get x equals 3. So hopefully you got that answer. Okay, next problem. Number 3. The problem is 2 minus 3 times parentheses 2x minus 1 equals 17. And I want you to solve for x. Go ahead and pause the video and give it a shot. Okay, let's go ahead and try this one. Here you have to be careful because you have a 3 outside the parentheses, but it's really a negative 3 because the sign goes with the number. So you're going to rewrite the 2. The common mistake people will make on this problem is they'll want to say 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So make sure you know 2 stays the way it is because we have to multiply before we add or subtract. We distribute the negative 3 and we get negative 6x. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3 equals 17. Alright, so we got rid of the parentheses. Now we collect like terms. I get negative 6x plus, I have 2 plus 3, which is 5, is equal to 17. Now I have a two-step equation. Subtract 5 from both sides. And I have negative 6x is equal to 12. Divide both sides by negative 6. The negatives cancel, the 6's cancel, and I get x equals -2. So hopefully you got that answer. Okay, the next problem, number 4. Try this. If you have y equals -3x plus 4, notice this equation has two variables in it. We want to solve this equation for x. Now, right now it's in the form y equals mx plus b, so we can see the slope and the y-intercept, but they're not asking us for that. They just want us to solve for x. Get x by itself. So, what do we have to get rid of first? Oh, I guess I need to let you try it first. So pause the video, and then I'll work it. Okay, let's go ahead and get x by itself. To do that, I have to get rid of whatever's added or subtracted. So I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. However, I can't actually subtract 4 from y, so I'm going to write it as y minus 4 equals. On this side, these cancel out, and I bring down my -3x. Now, I almost have x by itself. I just have to get rid of the -3. That's multiplied. So the opposite of multiplying by -3 is dividing by -3, and I have to divide everything by -3. So these cancel. I get x equals, and I'm going to pull my fraction out in front of my y, so I get -1/3 y. My negatives cancel, plus 4/3. And there is my equation solved for x. Okay, next page. Try this equation, number 5. If you have 2 times parentheses x minus 3 is equal to 1 minus parentheses x plus 4. And we want to solve this for x. Okay, pause the video and give that one a shot. See if you can find what x equals. Notice there's only one variable, so you'll be able to get x equals a number. Pause the video. Okay, let's work it. We distribute right here, we get 2x. Distribute here, we get -6. Equals 1. We're going to distribute the negative. You can think of it as, hey, I'm multiplying by -1, or what is the opposite of a positive x? It's -x. And the opposite of a positive 4 is -4. Okay, now collect like terms. This side is already simplified as far as I can go, and on this side I have -x, and 1 minus 4 would be -3. Solve for x. I'm going to add x to both sides. And I get 3x minus 6 is equal to -3. Two-step equation, get rid of whatever's added or subtracted first. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and I get 3x is equal to 3. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 1. All right, number 6. We're going to have another formula. Suppose we have a equals capital F divided by m. And we want to solve this for m. Now, believe it or not, this one is missed a lot because we are solving for the letter that's on the bottom of the fraction. So give it a shot, be careful, and just remember we're trying to get m by itself. So try it, and hopefully you will be able to figure it out. Okay, let's go ahead and try. Let's see how you did. If I'm trying to get m by itself, even though I'm solving for m, I have to move the m, or I have to get rid of it from underneath the fraction first. So what's the opposite of dividing by m? Multiply by m. And I know for some people that's weird because you're multiplying by the thing you're trying to get by itself. Well, we have to get it out of the fraction. So when we do that, my m's cancel, but I moved it to the other side. So f equals m times a. And I want to solve for m, so now I have to move the a. What's the opposite of multiplying by a? That would be dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides by a. My a's cancel. I have m by itself, and it equals f over a. Hopefully somebody got that one right. It's just strange because normally when we're solving for a letter, we move everything else. Well, in this case, we had to move the m first because it was on the bottom of the fraction. Okay, next page. Number 7. If you have 3x plus 6y is equal to a negative 24, and we want to solve for y. All right, well, give it a shot, pause the video, and I will help you with it later. Okay, we want to solve for y. So this is an equation that's in standard form, and if we're solving for y, that means we're going to put it into slope-intercept form. We'll be able to see the slope and the y-intercept. So we are solving for this y right here. So what do we get rid of first? Whatever's added or subtracted. So I'm going to move this 3x over to the other side, and I have 6y is equal to negative 3x minus 24. Okay, now to get rid of the 6, the opposite of multiplying by 6 is dividing by 6. And I'm going to divide everywhere by 6. So my 6's cancel, and I have y equals, pull the fraction out in front, that simplifies to negative 1/2, because 3 is half of 6, minus 24 divided by 6 is 4. Oops, I forgot my x. So I should have gotten y equals negative 1/2 x minus 4. Hopefully you guys got that answer. Our slope in this case would be negative 1/2, and our y-intercept would be negative 4, if they ask us for it. Okay, number 8. Let's do an absolute value problem. Suppose we have 3 minus 5y. Absolute value of that is equal to 3. And we want to solve this for y. Well, there's only one variable, so this is just a regular absolute value problem. Let's see if you can remember how to solve this. Pause the video and try it. Okay, how many answers did you guys get? Hopefully you got 2 answers. Remember, if the absolute value is by itself, which it is in this case, and it's equal to a positive number 3, then we can use our rule to get rid of the absolute value signs. And our rule is you write it twice, you make the 3 negative the first time and positive the second time. So everything inside the absolute value stays the same. I have 3 minus 5y. I'm going to set it equal to this number, but the opposite of it. Or I'm going to take out whatever's in the absolute value and set it equal to that positive 3. I'm going to solve both equations, and that will give me my 2 answers. So here, I want to move 3 over, so I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. I have negative 5y is equal to negative 6. Divide by negative 5 on both sides. And I have y equals a fraction. The negatives cancel out, and I have 6 over 5. Or I solve this side for y, move 3 over. I get negative 5y is equal to, well, 3 minus 3 is 0. But keep going. Divide both sides by negative 5. And y equals any number, 0 divided by any number is 0. So there's your 2 answers. Hopefully that's what you got. Okay, 2 more. Number 9. Suppose you have x times 2x minus 1 is equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 12. I want you to solve for x. All right, so this is an equation that has parentheses in it. So get rid of the parentheses and then get x by itself. So give it a shot. Okay, I'm going to work it now. Hopefully you got the same answer I'm about to get. Distribute. We get 2x squared minus x is equal to 2x squared plus 5x minus 12, because I can't simplify anything on that side. Notice that they both have a 2x squared, so I'm going to cancel those out. And I'm going to move all my x's to one side. So I already have an x over here that's by itself, so I'm going to move this one over. I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. I get negative 6x is equal to negative 12. The opposite of multiplying by negative 6 is dividing by negative 6. So that's what I'm going to do to get rid of it. Move it to the other side. My negatives cancel, my 6's cancel, and I get x equals, my negatives cancel, and I get positive 2. All right, one more. Give this problem a try. Number 10. You have 4x times parentheses x plus 1 is equal to 2x minus 3 times 2x plus 5. And we are solving for x. Now, you have a monomial times a binomial on one side, and you have two binomials on the other. Solve for x. Pause the video, and I'll help you with it in a second. Okay, let's solve it. Here we distribute and we get 4x squared because x times x is x squared. You add those exponents. And then 4x times 1 stays the same, 4x equals. Here you multiply 2x times 2x would be 4x squared. And 2x times positive 5 would be plus 10x. Negative 3 times positive 2x is negative 6x, and negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. Okay, we cancel out our 4x squareds from both sides. We simplify. We have 4x on this side, and we have like terms over here, so we're going to add those together before we try to move anything. So we end up with 4x minus 15. Well, what happens when you have 4x on both sides? Well, they cancel out. And what's left on this side? Nothing. So we say 0 equals negative 15. Now, when your variables canceled out, we ended up with something that wasn't true. 0 does not equal negative 15. So what could our x possibly be to make this true? There is nothing x could be to make this true, because every time our x's are going to cancel out, whatever we put in for x will go away, and we'll be left with something that doesn't make sense. So the answer to this problem is no solution. Okay, those are all the different types of equations that we have learned before Chapter 3 and through Chapter 3. So hopefully that was a good little review for you. That is all for today.